Well, it's that time of the show that I love. It's the Daily Three. That's 3 questions, 3 minutes. Take it away, Sam.
All right, good news, bad news in Twins territory. Good news, they sweep the Oakland Athletics. 3 one-run wins, 2-1, 1-0, 4-3. They dodged bullets in every single ninth inning. Every game was kind of the same. Here's the bad news. Everyone's getting hurt. Byron Buxton has a hip issue. Carlos Correa got hit in the hand with a pitch. He's missed a few games. Trevor Larnach is on the IL, and it looked like their pitcher Chris Paddock got injured yesterday as well with an elbow. All told, the Twins have 10 players on the IL right now, even though they keep on winning. Are you more excited about the wins or worried about the injuries?
I'm worried about the injuries, and this is why. When you look at the way, kind of the early, the holdout, and everybody's talking about Manfred is going to ruin the MLB. He's going to ruin baseball. They need a new person in charge. Blah blah. So you look at the short spring training. You look at the players mentally being worried about whether it's a lockout, whether it's going to be after strike, whether it's going to be a new agreement that's going to screw them in the end. And we know they're about their money. We know there's a lot of guys that make enough money to sit out. And so when you have enough big time names that are like, look, I've already made $40 million. I can wait. As an owner, you're losing a ton every single time you don't open your stadium up. And so even though these owners are billionaires, there's a ton of employees they have to pay. There's other people involved. And so you end up being the bad guy as an owner if you can't find a way to get the labor agreement going, because you have concessions, you have ticket people, you have suite people. I mean, you have the chefs, it's so many employees that work for let's just say the Twins, for instance, that it's tough. And so when you look at that short kind of, confusing time where we didn't know if baseball was going to have to miss 2 or 3 series or what the season was, everybody's like, oh, it should be a 100 game season this year, 100 game season. Let's get a bunch of spring training. Let's let them get their bodies going. And so now we're seeing what a short spring training and preseason can do. Your body can be, you can succumb to injury. Here's why I'm worried. I'm worried because of the teams they have to face coming up. You look at the Astros, they're 18-11. You got the Guardians at 50%, 500, sorry, 500%, 50-50. They're 14-14. But then they have a stretch. So if they can get through that juggernaut of the Astros and then, a decent Guardians team, as we talked about before, about that first 28 or that next 28 games. In their first 10, they were 4-6. Now they've in the next 2, they've won 7 games in their last 2 10 game. They're in the 10th game coming up with the Astros, but 7-2 in the last 10, 7-3 before that. You look at the Athletics, 10-18, the Royals 9-16, the Tigers, and this is the key one, 8-19. They are my Tigers. I love them out of Detroit. They suck right now. 5-game stretch versus the Tigers. That's 5 wins they can possibly get in there. And so if they can get out early like they've been doing, but then you got the Blue Jays, and this is where they have to get healthy. They have to get healthy by the Tigers series, because they have the Blue Jays and the Yankees, and that's where it gets scary. And that's why the injuries, to me, it's like, how long are they going to be out? If they're going to be out for a little bit and come back in some of these easier series like the Tigers, and then they're ready to go for the Blue Jays and Yankees, great. But if they're out past the Yankees, that can be a stretch of 10 where they end up going like 1-9. And that's where it gets a little scary.
Yeah, I'm always worried about Buxton. He's already had 2 injury scares now. So you worry about that cumulative effect of his body wearing down. Like Correa's hand, is that going to affect his swing? Even if he's able to play, is he going to be able to hit as effectively? You've lost a couple starting pitchers now. So there's just a slow buildup where I worry about this team in the long run. But if they can get guys healthy by the time that schedule gets tougher, it might work out okay. I know this team's always very cautious with injuries, so maybe they're not as serious as they seem.
Yeah.
All right, the Minnesota Lynx, a team we haven't talked a lot about on this show. They started their regular season over the weekend, lost a couple games to the Seattle Storm and the Washington Mystics, and they lost both of them pretty handily. Ron, what's your outlook on the Minnesota Lynx this season?
I don't want to make it a gut reaction. They were in the playoffs last year. They've been a pretty solid team over the past. But they do have a new person holding the ball, and that's Rachel Banham, former Gophers guard. Absolute nightmare shooter when it comes to getting hot. When she gets hot, she's tough to stop. So she's getting the nod this year early on. She signed a new contract to be back with the Lynx. She's a hometown girl, and so you want to root for her just like Lindsay Whalen. So I think she's gonna have to get her footing. Coming off the bench, being a support player. She and I think Jordan Poole's gonna be there someday. As a support player now. Eventually, when he becomes the guy, he's gonna have to figure out what it looks like. Look at Duncan Robinson with the Heat. Had a great kind of bubble, and then got a $90 million contract, and now he's played like I think one game or something or like that, or 3 games in the last whatever. Like it's a lot more pressure, and so I think Rachel Banham has to get it figured out. But you look who they played. The Mystics right now are undefeated. The Seattle Storm, it's Sue Bird. I mean, come on now. She's Sue Bird. So, yep, it's not great that they weren't even close in either of these 2 games. Like, 2 double-digit losses. But it's early. It's only been 2. They can easily turn it around and go 2-2 and then, go or whatever, win the next 2. So end up 2-2 in the last 4. And that's going to change it. But I think it's going to be up to Rachel Banham carving out her niche. What is her game? She's normally a scorer shooter, but now she has to be a little bit of a facilitator as well. So that's the question is, can she be the Steph Curry of the WNBA? Like as a point guard, facilitating, can she also get her shot off? And I think that's going to be up to, Coach Reeve down the stretch, figuring that out. Like not down the stretch, sorry, early on in the season. What does that look like for Rachel? Is she a Steph Curry? Can she facilitate and can she get her shot off? Or do we need to get a guard in there to or a forward even to bring the ball up, take that pressure off Rachel, let her just get up the court nice and easy, and then get into the offense? And so I think that's going to be the key for the Lynx. But right now it's too early. It's 2 games in. I'm never just going to say it's over. I know Vikings fans, if the Vikings go 1-2, it's over. People are going to say it's over. It's not over in the WNBA. It's not over in the NBA. Like it can start off bad, and then all of a sudden, boom, turn on like gangbusters.
Yeah, the Lynx had that slow start last year too, and they figured things out pretty fast. So I'll be patient with Cheryl Reeve. I love her as a coach, and I know they're kind of waiting for Nafisa Collier, right? Because she was their leading scorer last year. She's having a baby, so she's missing time now, but she plans to return, which is crazy impressive on her part. But if they can just weather the storm until she gets back, I imagine she'll give them a pretty big lift.
Yeah, I'd love to see Maya Moore come back though. It's not gonna happen, but
that'd be one of the biggest stories in basketball. That'd be awesome. The Kentucky Derby Saturday. Now, this was interesting. Rich Strike was not in the field the morning of the race. The 20 horse scratched. So Rich Strike was an alternate, got entered in the field last minute. 80-1 long shot. Not a very impressive resume. Nobody believed in that horse on the far outside post, nonetheless. And he comes from like an absurd deficit on the home stretch and beats the 2 favorites at the wire.
Yeah.
If you saw the aerial view of this race, it was incredible, the ground that he covered. Did you watch the race, Ron? Do you care about the Kentucky Derby?
I care from a betting standpoint. I was kind of like, we were supposed to go to a Kentucky Derby birthday party at Canterbury. And just our schedule, like getting one of our daughter's hair done on campus, because we also were attending the game. So kind of like it worked out for both. Our littlest got to get her hair done. Our oldest got, she's a softball player, so she got to watch the Gophers and again, see the players have their senior day, so on and so forth. So no, we missed the party. I'm kind of annoyed a little bit because when I saw the numbers in the bet, so 3 and 21, I think were like 1 and 2 or whatever it was, or 21 and 3. I forgot. Those are my numbers. Like 21 was my high school football number. I won at 21 in college, but when I got here, Delvin Jones had it, who was a sophomore safety who was starting. And so my second number was Keyshawn Johnson. Or sorry, my first number was 3, but at the time, freshmen, they really didn't give freshmen single-digit numbers. So I won at 21, but couldn't get it. So, my sophomore year, I went to 3. And so, of course, 3 is my number. I mean, this is the daily 3. So, honestly, like being there, talking to people about the bets, I would have thrown, I don't know how much, I forgot what it was worth, but I definitely would have thrown $10 to $20 on a 321. I don't know if it's a box trifecta or a box perfecta. I don't even know what it is.
Probably an exacta.
Exacta, yeah.
21-3 would be exacta, yeah.
Yep. And so I don't know what that pays out. But when I saw that, I'm like, I would have done 321 and then 21-3 on an exacta bet. Throwing $20. I don't know if it pays out 100-1, 200-1, 3. I don't know what it was. But I would have done that because those are my numbers. I always do that with the Powerball. I always play 321. 24 is another number. My wife's birthday. 12 and 13 are my kids' birthdays. So I love to use the numbers when I do it. So I would have had that in there. And that's the only thing that threw me off. But no, it was an amazing race. I watched that area view as well on Twitter. I think he came back from like 12 horses back, and he had to weave himself through and still had enough stamina left to kind of just go and take it. 80-1 favorite. So you got to love those stories, because I'm not sure, with the Bob, whatever his name is, story. Baffert, yeah, the whole like just wait till the facts come out, dude. The facts are all you. What do you mean win it? Just tell us. What are the facts? Like, you keep saying it as if you're gonna have some expose of other people that drugged your horses and not you, or the owners drugged your horses and not you. Like, shut up. But in his story, because they're gonna make a movie, I'm sure, about him, and then this horse might pop up as a small blip in the story of like, oh look, a non-drugged horse won that year at 80-1. Imagine if Bob Baffert had been in there, But no, it was cool to see it on Sports Center and all that stuff, and Instagram and Twitter. But no, I'm not like a diehard, but I definitely would have bet those numbers.
All right, Ron, how much money do you think, realistically, what would you have put in that exacta? Because I've got the payouts right here.
Oh, I would have put honestly, like, it's a birthday party, we'd have been drinking. So anywhere from like 20 to $50 on each, like $100 bet on both of them. So let's 50 and 50.
Let's say it's 50.
Yep.
A $2 exacta would have paid $4,101.20. Wow. So you would have won about $90,000.
So annoying. Softball came first, though. You know what? Softball came first. My daughter was happy. My other daughter got her hair done. So it is what it is. I don't get the 90 grand, but we'll have to make it back up somehow. But yeah, no, I definitely would have bet that. I'm not betting it. Well, I guess I can bet it next year, but I don't think it'll ever happen again. 3-21, that's not gonna happen.